love the idea of selling multiple quantity listings and selling that item and over again, but not selling boutique items. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can find, as well as the benefits of selling a multiple quantity listing, but that's not a boutique item. First, I just want to give you a quick backstory on kind of how I got started with multiple quantity listings. So I've talked ad nauseum in emails and in videos, like pretty much everywhere I am, how much I love selling a multiple quantity listing. And oftentimes for me, that is boutique items because I do like selling boutique items, but that's not where I started. And the idea of selling an item over and over again is appealing because you do the work once. So you will buy that item one time, you will prep that item one time, photograph that item one time, list that item one time, but because you have multiple of them, you get to sell it again and again and again and earn profit again and again and again without doing any more work except for just shipping it, which in my mind really isn't a big deal. The idea that you get to scale your time and effort is extremely appealing to me, whether you're a part-time seller and so you have to go to your full-time job and you like to sell multiple quantity or want to get into it, or you're a busy mom and trying to be a full-time seller, like whatever your situation is, any reseller has a lot to do. And so being able to scale by selling multiple quantity is always going to be a good thing. And just so you know, adding boutique items specifically to my Poshmark closet has allowed me to earn over $35,000 in sales just from those boutique items, and that's not counting the multiple quantity listings I've done. So boutique is kind of separate. I do have a course all about it. I love selling boutique items. And if you're interested in learning more about how to build a profitable Poshmark boutique, you can take my course. It's linked down below, and you can use the code VIDEO20 to get 20% off. But as I said, I didn't start my multiple quantity listing journey by selling boutique items. I actually started with just one garage sale find that changed everything. So one garage sale find got me hooked, and it was just like crazy after that, and I've never gone back. So I went to a garage sale locally here in Orlando, Florida, and this gentleman had a stack of tank tops from Hooters, the restaurant. And I thought like, oh, that's cool because they're like the ones that they wear at the restaurant. And I'm sure someone would want that and think that's cool. So I asked him, how'd you get these? And, I was just kind of talking him up, and he had been in like a distributor for restaurant, whatever. I don't know. A lot of backstory. And so he had some out, and I forget what the original price was that he was selling them for, but he said he had more. And I said, well, if I bought them all, would you do it for like $2 a top? And he did. So I think it was like 30 of them, and I bought all 30 of them at $2 a top. Thank God I had all that cash. And so it was great. So I bought all of them, and I had a good feeling. I never bought anything in a multiple quantity before. I was still really new at reselling, but I just had a good feeling that this was going to work out, and I was really curious. And the idea of buying so many, because I already knew how it was going to go. I knew I was going to just do the work once and get to sell them again and again. I'm like, that's going to be awesome. So I already kind of knew how it would go, and it was great. So I was super happy to get that find. So I took them home. I was super excited, and I took the photos, did the measurements, put the listing up. And once I did that, I think it again kind of hit me how awesome this was going to be, because even if one sold, okay, that was great. I did that work. I would have done that work for all the different items that I sell. But if I sell the second one, I didn't have to do all that work again. When I sell the third one, I won't have had to do all that work again. So just kind of I knew it in my head when I bought them, and then having done the work to get the first one listed or to get the listing up, and I did set it for multiple quantity and added in the different sizes and the different quantity. Once that happened, I knew that this was going to be good. I had already kind of had this feeling of I could do this again. And if I had a bunch of these, stuff would just sell and I wouldn't have to do all that work. And just something about that was super exciting to me. And it kind of was like, muhaha. Like I just was like, yes, this is what I need to do. How can I do more of this? And then I don't remember how long it took for the first one to sell or whatever. But once the first one sold, I was like, yay, great. And then once the second one sold, I was like, yes. And then the third one sold. And so basically over the next couple of months, once a week, couple a week, here and there, they just started selling. And so for me, all I had to do was go get the size and ship it out. I didn't have to do all that other work to make that money, that same money. Then I wasn't selling things for a lot of money. So maybe I sold it for $10 and I bought it for $2. And so I made $5 or $6 profit after the Poshmark fees, whatever. The point was, it just kind of opened my eyes to the idea that a multiple quantity listing is the key to making more money in less time with less work from me. And because I was a stay-at-home mom, Gio was little then, he wasn't in school, that was so important to me that it really just made a huge impact on me and my business. And I was like, okay, how can I find more of these? So now I definitely want to get into, now that we've talked about like how my eyes got open to it and what the power of it is, how can I find multiple quantity listing items as a thrifting person? Like I wasn't buying boutique items then. So how could I make that happen? So I have some tips for you on that. And then after, I have some tips on just kind of multiple quantity in general. Some notes about where you can find them. Pretty much anywhere you source regularly, but I do think it does require like a shift in your thinking and just kind of like being open to it. I know that that sounds kind of like, but it is true. So like you might not realize that there are multiple quantity listings at your thrift store because you're not looking for them. And so I found these tank tops that had a horse print on them. And I bought all of those. I found there was like a brand new with tags rack one time at a Goodwill of all bras that were True and Company, and I never heard of that brand before, but there were so many and I could tell that they were like the same style and multiple different sizes. So I like went over to the manager and was like, I see you have all these bras, they're this price. I will buy them all. Would you give them to me for this price? And I'll buy them all immediately. And they did. I think they were $9.99 a piece, and I negotiated them down to $4.99 a piece, and I bought every single one that they had, and it was like 60 bras. I did the same thing at Goodwill. Up in front, they had a area like, you know, for like impulse buys where they just kind of throw a bunch of stuff in a bin and you could like buy it. And they were teething bibs, like for little babies, and you put it right here, and so like their drool or whatever. I never did that for Gio. And they were like a boy set of 4 and then a girl set of 4, and they were, you know, they had cute like spring or bunnies on them or something. I forget what price they had them at. Maybe $2.99 a piece, something like that. And so I said, if I buy them all, would you give them to me for 99 cents each? And they did. So I bought them all. I got them all for 99 cents. Now, those did not sell as well as some of the other things. Not every multiple quantity listing is going to be good if you're not careful, and that's why I have some tips for you. But I give you all of these examples. Those were just from Goodwill. So I did it at garage sales. I did it at Goodwill. I have obviously purchased multiple quantity when I do retail or online arbitrage for things that are new with tags. So if you go to, you know, the Athleta website, I bought tons of Athleta on clearance and sold it for more money. And so I had multiples of certain items. I have done it on ThredUp. I've done it at Style Encore. So anywhere that you source, if you're looking for a multiple quantity listing, doesn't mean that every time you're going to find it, but they are there. The other thing is I bought these wristlets, like embroidered wristlets, at a business that was going out of business. And so they had a lot of things that they were just trying to like clearance out. So if you have stores, you know, that might be going out of business that you can hit up a sale. That's also a really good way sometimes to get like mannequins and hangers and clothing racks if you find a business going out. So I don't have any like magic list of where you can find multiple quantity items. It's really knowing that that's something that you want to do and then kind of just going out and seeking them on top of your normal thrifting activities. And they might be few and far between, or they might be plentiful, but if you're not searching for them, you're definitely not going to find them. So I think having the idea that it is possible to find multiple quantity listings out there in the wild. If you have ever gone to like a TJ Maxx, yellow tag or red tag, I don't really have good luck with that, but I do the Ross clearance sales, and I will buy everything that they have if they have multiple of something, just for the fact that I know I can do a multiple quantity listing. So like I bought Hurley swimsuits, I bought Calvin Klein dresses, I bought maternity shorts. Anytime I can find more than one of something, I'm probably in. Now that doesn't mean that everything is going to work out. So now let's talk about like how to make a multiple quantity listing a good seller for you, because it needs to sell. Because the bad thing is that if you invest in multiple of something, now you're on the hook for more than one. So if I had bought one dress and it didn't sell, okay, I bought one. But if I buy 10 dresses and they don't sell, now I bought 10. And that's an expense. So I do have some tips about how to kind of make them good sellers for you and kind of things to watch out for. Real quick, I can't believe I forgot this. The other way that I find multiple quantity listings is through bulk purchases and bulk sourcing. I don't know where my head is. So you guys know that mostly I buy online in bulk, whether it's pallets or whether it's bulk boxes. And my primary source, pretty much my only source, is Helpsy Source. You can use my code Rebecca the Reseller and get 10% off your order. But oftentimes I'm getting my multiple quantity from them. So whether you buy a new with tags box or a new without tags box, like I just did a pallet of Prana from them and everything was new with tags. And so I had maybe, 15 different items, but then multiple quantities of each of those items. And so all of those listings are up, and instead of selling that dress one time, I'm going to sell that dress 6 times. And Helpsy Source is a great way to get multiple quantity listings. Now, I don't think that they promote it in that way, but if you're ordering kind of like a branded box and it's new with tags, it's possible that would happen to you. I can't say for sure that it will, but the pallet that I bought, I kind of figured that that's what was going to happen, because when you buy a pallet and there's 400 items in there, chances are if they're new with tags, you're going to get a few of the same thing. It's happened to me with Zara pallets. It's happened to me on other bulk boxes. So there's lots of ways that it can happen from them, whether it's on purpose or by accident, but buying in bulk is another way that you can do that as well. Another note is if you are going on places like Athleta or another website to do online arbitrage or retail arbitrage where you're buying the item brand new and you can buy a few of them and then you're going to sell it for a profit on Poshmark or wherever, you want to try to maximize all of the opportunities for you to get more profit out of it. And when you're doing that type of purchase, it's expensive. Like I've paid sometimes $10 for an item, I've paid $15 for an item, sometimes I've paid $20 for an item. And so buying in that way can be expensive. But one of the ways that you can add to your profit margin is using sites like Rakuten. I have the link in the description below. I use that when I'm going to go on Athleta and buy stuff, because then I'm going to get cash back. And I use it, for all my Black Friday shopping. I use it for a lot of different personal things as well as online retail arbitrage for my business. But if you sign up with my link to Rakuten, you get bonus cash and I get bonus cash. So definitely use my link, sign up for Rakuten. We both get the bonus cash, and then use it to purchase from sites. It doesn't have to be Athleta. It could be any, Nike, Lululemon, whatever site you want to do retail or online arbitrage for, and you can go to their clearance section, find an item that you think is going to sell well based on the research, buy 10 of them, you get cash back. It's awesome. The other thing is too with that is if they have some kind of like loyalty program or whatever, you want to sign up for all of those too, because you might get additional discount codes, or like, Torrid has Torrid Cash and Athleta has reward. Like they all have some kind of reward. and you can stack that up as well, and that just helps you squeeze more profit out of a sourcing opportunity that tends to be a little bit more expensive. Okay, so that was a lot about where to find them and kind of the backstory and all of it. So now let's talk about how to make these items good sellers for you and to make good decisions when you're contemplating buying a multiple quantity listing, because as I said, it's not like buying one item. You're buying several. That's the beauty of it. That's the power of it. But that also can be, your mistake. So if you buy something that's not good and it doesn't sell, now you've made that mistake times whatever. So I have some thoughts. I have very specific notes, so I'm going to be looking down because I don't want to forget anything. So the first tip that I have for you is to buy as many as you can of the item to make it worth it, but don't buy too much. Because if you don't have the cash or if you're just experimenting, this has now become a big investment. So if you're going to buy 5 of something and you can afford to buy those 5 of whatever it is, you're going to get to make that profit 5 times. But remember, they might not all sell. And so you might only sell it like 3 times. And so if you sell it 3 times, is that worth it for you? In my mind, most of the time, anytime you can sell it more than once, it's going to be worth it unless you're paying a ridiculous price for it. But I try to look at it in that way. Like if I only sold half, would I be breaking even? Is that a good price point? Am I comfortable with this investment? Am I spending money I shouldn't be spending? If you're buying a lot, a big purchase like when I bought the Prana palette, for me, I have the cash flow in my business to do that. If you're just getting started with buying multiple quantity, you may not have the cash flow for it. So if that's the case, you may want to set aside some of your profits in advance so that you have that money there to play with. And I give that tip for like when you want to buy palettes in general. But if you're buying multiple quantity, it would apply also. Save aside a little bit of money that you can use to make those bigger purchases, and that will help you kind of not spend the profits that you need to run your business or the profits that you need to pay yourself. It's kind of like separate other money, and it won't be such like a high pressure situation. The next tip is to not buy size specific items. Those are the best because then you don't have to worry about the different varieties and what are going to sell better or worse. So let's say you have a dress that you can purchase 10 of them, and some are extra large and some are small and some are medium, whatever. Like that's great, and you can do that. And I have bought size specific items in multiple quantities with a couple of variations to sell, and it's gone great. But I love the most buying items that are not size specific because then anyone can buy them. And so you're not limiting yourself to, well, I sold all the large, but the extra small is not selling, because that's still tying up your money. So if you just bought one size, let's say it's a blanket, let's say it's a pair of earrings, anyone can buy that. It doesn't matter the size. So you're not limited in, well, some sold better and some sold worse, and now I have the extra small, but I didn't, I ran out of the large, whatever. It's not size specific. That I prefer more. If you do get a size specific item, think about the sizes that you buy, maybe of the common sizes or what's appropriate for that item. So for me, if I'm doing retail arbitrage or online arbitrage with Torrid, let's say, and I want to buy this dress and I want to buy it in, a couple of different sizes, I don't really deal with Torrid in their size 0 or 00. Like I just don't, because to me, that's not really plus size. And so that's not the sweet spot of selling for Torrid for me. And so I'm going to buy Torrid 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or 6. I'm going to buy those. Mostly 1 and 2 because I find that those are the most common sizes that I can sell quickly of Torrid. So if I'm going to do a multiple quantity purchase of a Torrid dress, I'm going to be thinking about the common sizes that make the most sense for that brand. If you're buying something that is more of a Revolve brand, let's just say, I don't know if you can get multiple quantity of that easily, I don't try, but let's say you did, you may want to focus on the smaller sizes because that might be more popular for that kind of brand. So think about what item it is, what brand it is, who the buyer is, and what the most common sizes are, and buy the most of those or only those, so that you set yourself up for success for having a good seller. The next one is to find the stock photos in advance before you make the purchase of the bulk item. And if you don't use stock photos, then this would not apply to you. I am a person that does use stock photos. I've made my peace with it. It is what it is. So if I'm doing retail arbitrage, I'm already looking at the item online. I already have the stock photos. So that's kind of like what it is. But if I'm, let's say, at a thrift store and I do find a multiple quantity set of, let's say, those bras that I found way back when, or the Hooters tank tops, I didn't find stock photos for those. They still sold anyway. Thank God it worked out. But before I made that purchase, if I had tried to go online and find stock photos and wasn't able to find them, I could make the determination of not making that purchase because I can't find the stock photos and I can't showcase this item well. So for a bra, that may not make as much sense. But if it was an item where you really wanted to show it off properly and you felt like that stock photo would be really critical to help it sell, if you can't find the stock photo in advance before buying the item, that could help you determine not to buy that item so that you don't end up with a whole bunch of whatever that you can't sell because you can't show it off in the right way. So that's just kind of like one of those things to keep in mind. The other thing, kind of going along with that same theme, is let's say you come across an item and it's awesome and you like it and you think it's going to do really well and somebody's going to want it, right? We've all said that. But you can't think about how you're going to make that listing. You can't think of the keywords that you're going to use to make a kick butt listing. You may not want to buy that item. I don't care how many of them you think you can sell. If you can't describe that item once with good keywords and make a good listing once, how do you think you're going to sell it again and again and again? So this does kind of lend itself to boutique items because there's no brand attached to it. So I find it even more crucial with boutique, but also with multiple quantity because you're going to be finding things that have a brand. Let's say a Hurley two-piece swimsuit, which I found at a Ross clearance sale, and I bought all of them. I know it's Hurley. I know there might be a specific style name. I know that it has keywords already written on the tag. I know that if I could find it online, I can find what it is. I know it's two-piece. I know it's high-waisted. I know it's color block, blah, 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 blah. I know all of that, so I know I can make a good listing so that it will sell. In the case of a boutique item, or if you find an unbranded multiple quantity item, or even a branded one, but you just don't know how to, explain it, you're not going to be able to make a good listing. And so it's not just a mistake for one, it's a mistake for 10 if you bought 10. So when I'm doing boutique and I find a turquoise ring, if I don't know all the good keywords that people are going to be searching for to find that ring, I'm not going to buy that. If I can't describe the shape and the pattern and the style and whatever, I'm not going to buy it because I can't keyword it properly for it to be found in search. And so I hope that makes sense because it can be really critical. I don't know what sort of example it would be for you, but if you came across multiple quantity of something and you don't think you can do good keywords for it, you should not make that multiple quantity purchase because you might get yourself into trouble, and I would hate to see that. The next one is conduct comps research and be extra sure that this is going to work for you and for your buy cost, your pricing model, and the discount structure that you offer. So if you're faced with a multiple quantity buying decision, and you know that you normally have a buy cost of $5 and you list things for $35 or $50, and you have a set of offers that you send out and you have certain sales that you do, and you have a buy cost, pricing model, and discount model intact, and then you're faced with a multiple quantity purchase that does not match up to that, I would not make that purchase. Because if you get it and you put it in your Poshmark closet, now what are you going to do? Now when you send out offers, you might have an issue. Now when you run your closet like you normally have been, you have to change what you're doing for this one multiple quantity listing. That doesn't make sense. So for me, if I did go to the Ross clearance sale this year and I found a set of maternity items, but the cost was buying it for $10 and they were only $50 maternity shorts to begin with, and I was only going to list them for like $35, like that's not going to work out for me based on my current buy cost pricing model and discount structure, because I usually give up to 50% off. I send out progressive offers. I have all kinds of things that I do. And I have a video about my offer to liker strategy. I have a video about my shoppers strategy. So I'll link those for you here. But there's lots of things that I do that is kind of baked in. I buy at this price, I list for this price, I know that I'm going to send out these types of offers. Everything has to fit into that formula or that model, otherwise I can't buy it. And so you may not even realize that you're doing that, but you can't go buy something for 10 and then expect to send out a 50% offer if it doesn't allow for that in your pricing model. So just keep that in mind, because in that situation, if you are going to get into more multiple quantity listings, you may want to have a second closet. And I do have a video about having a second closet and names and all of that, like changing your closet name. And I think I'm going to do a new video about having a second closet. I don't currently operate a second closet, but I have. And so you may want to do a second closet if you're going to do things that operate on a different pricing model than you currently have. And then this one I kind of already mentioned at the beginning when I'm saying like don't buy too many, and that's having the output cost in mind. So make sure that the buy cost is low enough so that you only have to sell a few of them in order to hit your break even point and then start making profit. So if you know that you can buy a couple of these brand new tag swimsuits for $2 a piece and you're going to list them for $50, and so they're probably going to sell for $25 or $30, like you can buy 10 of them and sell one of them and break even probably, and then everything else that you sell will be profit. That would work out. That's a good buy, because all you have to do is sell one to make up for all the ones that you buy, and then you're in profit after that. If that equation doesn't work out and you would have to sell, I would say, more than half to break even, that's not a good buy. You're probably paying too much, and I don't think that's going to work out. So, you don't have to be as strict with it, but look at each one and say, okay, if my buy cost is this, and I think I can list it for this, and it's probably going to sell at this, and given my offer structure and all of that, I can buy X amount and sell one, maybe two, maybe three, whatever you're comfortable with. I could sell 3 of them, and as long as I sell 3, I break even, and then all the other 20 are profit. Thinking of it like that will really help you make good decisions. It's more important than ever when you're buying multiple quantity to be a disciplined sourcer than it is when you buy one off. Again, for the reason I said before, if you buy one and you make a mistake, oops, oh well. If you buy 20 and you make a mistake, now you've made a mistake on 20, and that could cost you a lot of money. So don't do that. The last tip I have of things that help you sell is new with tags. Just because it's new with tags doesn't mean it's going to sell, but I feel like things that are new with tags have a more broad appeal. People want to maybe pay more money for them. You just have a better chance of selling it when it's new with tags, I feel. And so that's preferred when I'm buying multiple quantity. I want to try to get it new with tags if I can. So finding more than one item can be a challenge, or it can be easy. It depends on where you're sourcing, how you're sourcing, and what you're looking for. But finding those multiple quantity items that you can sell again and again off of doing the work once is amazing. And I know that many people are not interested in boutique, but as I said, I got my start in multiple quantity that wasn't boutique. But once I fell in love with the benefits of selling multiple quantity, I really sought it out, and that's what led me to start my boutique. And now I love it, and I've made, over $35,000 just in boutique items. And so, as I said, definitely get started with multiple quantity in an easy, manageable way that won't get you into trouble. But if you are interested in jumping right in and starting a boutique, use the code video20 to get 20% off, and you can purchase the course from my academy down in the link below. Also, be sure to check the link below because I have the link to my free Poshmark strategies checklist, all of the recommendations and resources that I've put together for you. It's all there in the description. I hope you will check it out. Like this video, comment below and say hi, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.